Hey everybody, so I'm Melissa, the original Video Maverick, and I would just first like to welcome you to this free mini course that I put together on video creation. And, honestly, like no matter what reason you're here, whether you've seen a video that I made and you got inspired and that's what brought you here, or, you've always wanted to make a video. So you're here for that reason. Or honestly, at this point, you still don't think you can actually make a video for yourself, but you're kind of curious as to how it actually works. Because in these three videos, in the second video specifically, we will do a step-by-step hand-holding tutorial on how to create a video. But you're also not going to want to skip this video because there are 3 secrets to video making that have absolutely nothing to do with the actual execution of making a video that is what is required to make your video make an impact on you, an impact on your audience, like regardless. Basically without these 3 secrets, you'll be able to make a video, not a problem. But will it really resonate? Will it really not only be your most important video, but also like be able to share with other people? And that brings me to, some things you might be thinking, like that you don't have any tech skills, which is totally fine, by the way. Like I said, in the second video, there will be a hand holding, essentially A to Z tutorial on how to make a video. And by the end of it, you will have made your first video. So, you're not going to have any tech skills required because you'll have every instruction at your disposal. Or maybe you're thinking like, I don't have enough time to learn how to do a new thing, which is also fine, right? Because okay. In terms of learning a new skill, it always takes a little bit of time. But the reason that you dedicate that time to learning a new skill is what you're going to get at the other end. And to be honest, with videos, for me, the biggest impact they have made on me is the only way I can compare it is to when you look at a photo album and, you have that nostalgia over, that time, in your life, in your family's life, in people lives. Like when you're looking back at something, they always say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, imagine how many words a video is worth. Like, imagine if all the photo albums of all those black and white photos, imagine if they were all like brought to life through video. Like you would have so much more information. You'd have so much more, it is taking the idea of a photo album to the next level for me. And, this will tie back to, how I started creating videos in the first place. So your video, it could be a commemoration of some sort of success. It could be, dealing with some sort of trauma or, a coping mechanism. Or, even you could just really want to make videos. And that's actually kind of an awesome plan, right? Because the whole reason that I got started here was kind of a sad story. But, what it's grown into is the fun side of video making. And so if you're already there, you're way ahead of the class. But for those of you that don't know what video making truly could do for you, let me tell you a quick story. So about 6 years ago, I went through a very traumatic, it was a traumatic year. It wasn't just like one thing. It was a bunch of things. It was, my sister tried to commit suicide twice, and then my horse died in a tragic pasture accident and like chopped his leg off. And then, less than 4 months later after that, my dad committed suicide. And so, for that year, like it's hard to even imagine it actually, just side note, it's hard to even imagine going back to that place of how I was so swimming and surrounded by all of that negativity. Once you get out of there, it's really hard to like truly go back. And, but what I found, was that I found a way to cope with all of that trauma that was going on in my life. And I'm actually going to include the videos that I made for my horse and my dad within this free mini course, because also to show you like where videos, like, you know, those are my very first videos, right? So like, don't judge me too harshly. There's lots of stuff in there that I would change, but you know, the reality is what those videos have done for me is not only while I was dealing with those emotions, did it help me, you know, sort through and be able to really capitalize on things that I didn't want to lose. You know, I was in so much pain that when you're in pain, you can't think of the good things because you're just in this dark place. And so what those videos have done for me, like now, fast forward 5 years, is that they have created a way for me to go back and think of all the good things, even though at that time I didn't have a good moment in me. Like I really didn't. Like it was I can make a whole video on just trying to cope with trauma. And so I also want to put in one of the reasons that I decided to make this free mini course this year in particular is because I do know that everybody is going through their own version of trauma this year. Like it could be mental, emotional, physical, you know, where all of our lives were turned upside down. And, you know, this pandemic has, you know, shown us a lot of things. But one of the things it definitely did was it took our lives and put them all in a blender. And, you know, when it comes to, you know, essentially you may not know the trauma I went through because you've never been through that trauma. But I can tell you that the way it makes you feel is like your life got put in a blender. So it doesn't matter what put you in the blender or why it's on or why you feel like you're out of control. But the reality is that everybody everybody has been put in that situation where your life got put in a blender. You know, it's just, we're all coming from a different standpoint, which brings me to why you can so easily make a video. And it's also going to impact those 3 secrets that I was telling you about. But the reality is that every single person has a story to tell. And, you know, my story, I'm telling you my story right now. I'm telling you my story in those videos posted below. I'm telling you the emotion that I felt at that time with what I was doing behind the scenes. But, you know, like when you see those videos, like you'll feel the emotion that I felt, which was wanting to save the good pieces, because I knew that even though at the time I did not want to I didn't want to look at the good stuff. I didn't. But I did know that later it would mean the world to me to be able to go back and, you know, have those good things again. Stupid. So I'll be honest with you. My video script does not say, okay, cry here. So honestly, I need to stop in order for us to actually make these videos. So let's move on to, you know, the 3 secrets of video making so that I can share with you how, you know, these videos brought my soul out of the depths of despair. I don't know if you've seen The Princess Bride, but it's actually a reference to that movie. It's hilarious. So anyway, without any more tears, let's get into these 3 secrets, because the reality is, in order for your video to make as much of an impact on you as my videos have made on me, they need to have these 3 pieces. So the first one is finding your why. So for me, that was very easy, right? I had big, ugly trauma right in front of me. And that was why I needed to make these videos. But, you know, for you, it doesn't have to be negative. It could be positive. It could be, a graduation. It could be, a birthday. It could be an achievement. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be negative. But in terms of finding your why, you have to find emotionally why this video is important to you. And sometimes it's pretty obvious, right? Like for mine, pretty obvious. Like it's not rocket science to figure out why these videos mean so much to me. But in order for a video to truly make an impact, not only do I have to, like the person who's making the video, not only do I have to know the why, but the viewer has to know the why as well. And that's how you really make a video that, stands the test of time. That's how you make a video that means as much to you as it does to everybody that would be, potentially impacted by it. So that's secret number one, is finding your why. I'm also going to note that there's Dean Graziosi in his book. He's a very successful entrepreneur that I follow. He actually has a 7-step way of finding your why. So, obviously, in order to include that in this video, it would make it way too long. So that is something that will come up later. But, in terms of finding your why, sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. But it is an essential piece to making sure that your video actually makes an impact, not only on you, but on, everybody that loves you that could potentially watch the video. The next piece is actually building off of, finding your why, which is the second video secret is your video has to have a tone. So you already know. So for me, we'll use my horse video as an example. So the first piece was my why. What I wanted to commemorate, my why was that I was upset about the horse dying, but I also wanted to, make a video that commemorated I only had him for a year. So to commemorate the year that we spent together, which was then shared through the tone of, commemoration, in the sense of, there are sad pieces, but in the middle, there's an upbeat part, there's a piece to the video that shares in a tone where it's sad, but it's also, inspirational in a way, because at the end of the video, I write like a note to him, and also to like my future self of, saying like, don't give up on your dreams, because, they were cut out from underneath you. Like it's, you have to keep going. You have to keep fighting. And so the first piece is your why. Why are you making the video? The second piece is your tone. How are you going to communicate your why? Because it doesn't always have to be, it could, I could have made the video as overcoming something, and, this is the end that it had, or like, so, certain tones don't match certain storylines. And so, as I said, sometimes it'll be obvious how to set up your video, and sometimes it'll be a little bit harder to work at it, because in order for you to truly make an impact, you have to have the emotional aspect. And not only do you can't tell them, you have to show them. You have to make your audience feel the emotion that you feel. And which brings me to secret number 3, which is the easiest secret of all of them. The secret number 3 is that you have to feel the emotion while you're making the video. Now, this brings me also back to, my own trauma. This is why I honestly feel like video making and video creation, the creativity of actually going through your emotions and producing a visual image of, who you are, where you're at, what you're feeling, is, I personally believe it is the best way to have to cope with any sort of emotion that you're feeling, whether it's good or bad, because guess what? What goes up must come down. So even if it's a great feeling, you're trying to take that great feeling and make it last for as long as possible. So imagine if whatever you're feeling right now that's truly spectacular, every time you watch this video for years to come, you feel that spectacular again. Like, this is a way to take a moment in time, capitalize on it. Like, make sure that you, like, and then for years to come, and anybody that watches that video, you can take them to your emotional place. And for me, it was the only way. It would, I mean, given all the ways that there's lots of ways to cope with, trauma. So it's not like I only tried one. There were a few, but the reality is that when I felt those emotions, when I made that video, not only did it help me, bring myself back to life, but it also took those moments in time and created a way for me to go back and look back in a positive way, and really, when it's always darkest before the dawn, right? Like, so if you don't see an end, like, so, if you're going through like trauma from 2020, and so one of the main reasons you're here is because you think that this would be a really fun way to like fill some of your free time. There's a lot of us that aren't able to work. There's a lot of us that, are scared to leave our houses. There's a lot of us that, are just not leaving our houses because you know that your contribution, not leaving your house, is how we get out of this pandemic, because the people who are ignoring, the pandemic in its entirety are the ones that are going to keep us, in this place. And this is obviously not a video about COVID. This is about making videos that commemorate your achievements and commemorate where you've been and where you're coming from, and how, and then the 3 secrets are how you make your audience feel where you've been and where you're coming from. So there'll be a place for everybody to, on those videos, like there'll be a place for you to comment, and I would love to hear like what you guys think about those videos. Honestly, like, you can't be any meaner than I am to myself, because seriously, like, some of those videos, when I see them, I'm like, oh my God, I did what? Why? And, there is a part of me that wants to go back and make it again, but there is a bigger part of me that knows that that was who I was at that point. And that takeaway for me is what's the most important. Every time I watch those videos, I know how far I've come. Every time I watch those videos, I get to relive the good. I get to relive the good in a time that was not good. And so before I start crying again, let's get into the next video. Now that you know the 3 secrets to video making, the first thing you need to do is tomorrow, in the next video, whether you watch it tomorrow or not, I don't know why I'm giving you a timeline. You can watch it in 5 seconds. But the point is that in the next video, we're going to just make a video, right? We'll come up with some sort of storyline. We're going to come up with, these things that make a video. But the point is that it's not going to be your video yet. So your homework after this video is download the PDF, because you're going to come up with, your why and your tone. So basically it's going to be your video topic, why you want to create it, why it's important to you. And, the series of how to come up with your why, that'll be explained in there. Don't worry. Like, I'm not going to leave you hanging. And then of course your tone. So how you want to tell the story. Is this you overcoming something? Is this you just celebrating an achievement? Is this you, coping with something bad, like the trauma I went through, or just 2020 in general? If I see like 10,000 videos on 2020 and how it's impacted you, then I will know that I have done what I set out to do, which is to share how video making can drastically improve your well-being, even when you don't think that it can, even when you don't know that it could, or that you don't see a light at the end of your tunnel. I'm here to tell you there is a light, and I'm happy to tell you for free how you can do this for yourself. All right. Well, I think that was everything. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the good stuff. Let's learn how to do this. See you on the next one.